Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. This is Max and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this particular video, I am going to share everything that you need to know before traveling to Egypt. In this particular video, I am going to cover several aspects of traveling to Egypt. First is the SIM card, second is best time to travel, third is traveling within the city as well as within different cities, because there are different cities which are famous here in Egypt, like Cairo, Luxor, Alexandria, Hurghada, and so on. And I'm going to also speak a little bit about the currency, as in, how much cash is used or ATM withdrawals and all that kind of stuff, as well as the tours that you can book here within Egypt, as in within Cairo, Luxor. There are many types of tours that you can book here. So I'm gonna point on those as well. And specifically, I'm also going to mention a few points about safety and the precautionary measures that you need to take while traveling to Egypt. Right now, I am at the Cairo International Airport. So I just completed my Egypt journey, and I was here for almost close to 15 days. And I visited different cities: Cairo, Giza, Luxor, Alexandria, and Hurghada. So I'll be giving all my important information related to these particular sites that I visited. Okay, let's start first with SIM card. When you arrive at the Cairo International Airport, at the arrival hall itself, there is a SIM card provider, a prepaid SIM card provider, that is the Vodafone operator. And I believe at the arrival hall, the Vodafone provider is the only kiosk which is present. So you can just go there and you can purchase your plans. The plans I'll just show in the screen here. I had purchased the plan for 9 GB of data, which was valid for 30 days, and wherever I visited, whether it's Luxor, Alexandria, or Hurghada, uh, there was full network coverage. I also visited the Orange Bay Island, which is off the coast of Hurghada, and I got full coverage there as well. So I think Vodafone is, operator which won't give you any problems as such with regards to coverage. Secondly, I would like to mention a few points about the best time to travel. So I visited during the month of December. So I was here from December 15 till the first week of January. So this, for me personally, this was like the perfect time. In Cairo, it does get a bit cold in the afternoons, in the evenings, after the sun goes down. Like the temperature drops below 20 degrees Celsius, but it's not that big of a deal. If you are going down south to Luxor or Aswan, then the temperature would be again on the hotter side. But I felt that visiting Egypt in December was like the best time to visit, because then you don't really have to worry too much about sweating a lot and having to weather the hot and humid climate. The weather was cool and pleasant throughout my stay. However, when I went to Hurghada and took part in snorkeling activities on my way to Orange Bay Island, uh, the water there was quite, chilly, as in the water was quite cold. And even though the snorkeling was for 2 hours, I could only manage to stay in the water for 1 hour because it was just too cold for me. But apart from that, the weather was perfect throughout my trip, and I think if you are planning to visit, then you should target November, December, or January. Yeah, the third point that I would like to touch on is the travel which is within the city as well as intercity. So, if you are, let's say, in Cairo and you are traveling within the city, then Uber works perfectly fine. It works similar to how Uber works in other countries. The only thing that you need to keep in mind is that many a times, whenever the cab driver, the Uber driver comes to pick you up, he will ask to negotiate, at a slightly higher rate. So, let's say Uber is saying that it should be like 400 pounds, but the cab driver will come in and say, give me 500 or 600 Egyptian pounds. So you need to be at your wits end at these point of times. You need to negotiate well, you need to bargain, but most of the times these people will try to hustle. But at the same time, I have noticed in my personal experience, because I'm a solo traveler, when I was traveling within the city, I used to use Uber scooter. There is an option for scooter as well, so you can book a scooter and you can just sit behind the rider's back and he will take you. So many a times the fare used to be like 42 pounds, 58 pounds, right? And in my personal experience, even though it was like 58 pounds, the rider never hustled. I gave him the exact change and he accepted, and that was it. So when I used the Uber scooter, I never faced any issues where people were trying to hustle or take advantage of me. But whenever I took a cab, these type of things, I had to negotiate and bargain with them a little bit. But yeah, overall I would say that using Uber is very affordable here and as well as safe, so you don't really need to worry. Just sharpen up your bargaining skills and I think you should be good. Now, coming to intercity travel, let's say you're traveling from, say, Cairo to Luxor or Luxor to Hurghada, anywhere, then there are multiple options. One is, planes, which are quite expensive. Trains are also quite expensive. Like, I've met so many people who had a very poor experience with trains, so I didn't even go by a train. But when I was traveling from Cairo to Luxor, Luxor to Hurghada, and then Hurghada back to Cairo, I used GoBus. So GoBus is a service which they have, which connects all the major cities within Egypt, and the service works absolutely, trouble free. It is incredible and comfortable as well. The fare was comparatively cheaper as well. Like from Cairo to Luxor, it's about a 10-hour bus ride. So I had taken a night bus from Cairo to Luxor, and it was only about like 500 Egyptian pounds. So it wasn't really that expensive, and the ride was comfortable. There was no hiccups anywhere. It was very safe as well. So I just chose Go Bus during the next trip as well, when I moved from Luxor to Hurghada, and I did not have any complaints regarding Go Bus. The only critic that I have with regards to GoBus is that there are these, loaders, like luggage loaders. So whenever you go to board the bus, your luggage, they load it onto the bus. So the luggage loaders, these people, they try to, get a tip from you. So it's most very small tip, like 10 pounds or 20 pounds. But that tip is generally included in your, ticket fare. But they ask for it separately. But since it was like 20 pounds, which is like nothing, I chose to give it to them anyways. Yeah, now I would like to touch base upon some of the aspects related to booking trips. Like, for example, generally people go on Get Your Guide or Viator or Klook.com and book, trips which are specifically like visiting the pyramids, a whole day pyramid tour, and so on and so forth. And I did the same thing. I had booked my first tour, that is visiting the Giza pyramids as well as the pyramids in Saqqara, through Get Your Guide. But turns out that these tours that we book online, they are very very expensive. And turns out that there are much cheaper options which are available in Cairo itself. There are these tour operators which you will find around Tahrir Square, and they offer like almost half the rate, and it's the same tour, exactly the same tour, but it's at like 50% of the cost. So I was not aware of this because obviously, like everyone else, I booked online before coming into Egypt, and then when I was just going around Tahrir Square, I just noticed this tour operators with such minimal pricing. So I decided to check these, one of the travel operators which is located in Tahrir Square. Decided to check it out. I booked the Nile cruise. It's a dinner cruise, so you can go in the evening, and it has all these acrobatic performances. It's a lunch buffet, and the cruise goes around the Nile River for about 2 hours in the evening, and then drops you back in its location. And turns out that tour that I had, which was for 2 hours, it was incredible. It was authentic. The people were nice. Everything looked genuine, and the best part of it was of 15 US dollars. The cost of that tour was 15 US dollars. But that same tour, when I checked it online on Get Your Guide and Viator, that tour was like 30 US dollars. So it was like twice the amount. The same thing happened in Hurghada as well. So when I reached Hurghada, I checked with the local travel operators which were located on the Sheraton Road, which is the main road of the Hurghada, and I checked with them regarding the snorkeling activity that I wanted to do. So it's a whole day activity. They take you to Orange Bay Island, and you can take part in the snorkeling activity and relax on the beach, and a lunch buffet and everything like that, right? So the cost of it was 950 Egyptian pounds, which they charged me for it. But the same activity, which if you look at online of this Get Your Guide or Viator or any other tour operators, then it's almost twice as much. So I decided to go with the local operators, and again, it was really safe, it was authentic, there was no shady business as such, and I had a wonderful time in Hurghada. So I would suggest a couple of things. First thing is, if you are going to book online, that's fine. But if wherever you are staying, whether in Cairo, Luxor, or wherever you are staying, please check in with your hotel owners, because they generally have tie-ups with these local operators, so they will give you a better price, and they will be also be able to explain to you, the activities during the day, the itinerary, and answer all your questions. They generally also have a pickup and drop option at their hotel, so that works beautifully as well. So I would say, of course, check online, but at the same time, check in with your hotel owners and the local tour operators. I would like to mention a couple of points regarding the currency and the markets. So in Egypt, you need to carry cash, okay, because cash is like ubiquitous. Whether you are paying for Uber, or whether you are paying for, small snacks that you might pick up from local vendors, you need cash. However, if you are going to, fast food outlets or bigger restaurant chains, then of course you can use your Visa and Mastercard. But yeah, one good thing is that whether you are in Cairo, Luxor, or any of these major cities, there are lots of money exchange, currency exchange places like Western Union and Emirates and all those big giants. So you don't really need to worry. You can anytime exchange, US dollars, or you can withdraw your currency as well. So I did not face any hassle, and the exchange rates were also quite good for exchange from US dollars to Egyptian pounds. So I never had any issues regarding, currency related transactions. And the last and the most important point, of course, is the safety. So there are lots of queries on YouTube as well as on Google whether Egypt is safe or not. I am a solo traveler, and I have been traveling around Egypt for the last 15 days, and I can tell you that it is quite safe. Of course, there are people who will try to hustle you and who will try to, sell you stuff that you don't really need. That's part of their, I think, life, I guess, here in Egypt. But you don't really need to worry too much. Whenever these people approach you, you can just say la shukran. La shukran means no thanks, and you can keep just walking and minding your own business. As a solo traveler, I visited a lot of places, touristy places like Valley of the Kings, Valley of the Queens, Temple of Karnak, Temple of Luxor, on the Hurghada side as well, the museums. And most of these places, the big tourist places, they have a fixed rate, like the visitor payment that you need to pay. So that payment, there is no hassle on that one. You just pay whatever is mentioned on the card. You will only face an issue when you enter the markets. So in Cairo, there is this huge market like Khan El Khalil Bazaar. So that bazaar has lots of vendors, and everyone is trying to hustle you. In the same way, in Luxor, there is this huge street which is called as El Souk. There are lots of vendors on the side, and everyone is trying to hustle you. But apart from that, I don't think there is any safety related concerns anywhere. With regards to travel, you can use your Uber and all that kind of things, no problems. And I saw many female solo travelers as well during my journey, and everyone was like calm and not really anxious about anything. So I think Egypt is really cool and it is really safe, so you don't really need to worry too much. If I have to speak a few lines on food, then I guess if you are coming into Egypt, then the national dish of Egypt, that is kosheri, you have to try that dish. It is a vegetarian dish, but it's surprisingly it is very very healthy, and it's quite unique. Like, I didn't even know about this dish before coming into Egypt. But apart from kosheri, I think shawarma joints you will find all over the place, and there are like sweet shops, kunafa sweet shops, which you can try. But overall, I think Egyptian cuisine is quite interesting. It is very unique, and I found it very tasty as well. I think I covered most of the points that I wanted to cover in this particular vlog. But if you have any queries for me related to the travel itinerary, whether anything related to Egypt, then please let me know in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. I hope you had a wonderful day. I wish you Godspeed, and thank you for watching.